that's really putting hope when going into the leadership with John Maxwell. He really encourages that, building your character and understanding why you are the way you are, whose you are, and why are you doing what you're doing, and leading from that place of value. We need to ask that question, fear, why are you here? I hated door knocking. People will look and say, Grace, since you made those decisions that year, your life has completely changed and transformed and moved forward. And okay, you ready for this one?
Welcome back to Abed Podcast. This is episode 23. Today we are tackling one of the biggest challenges people face in personal and career growth. The mindset is one of the barriers that keeps them stuck or sometimes lost during their journey. Our guest today is an expert in leadership, sales and training, a quite interesting mix, and personal development. With 17 years in real estate, and she shifted from owning her own business to be a municipal government. So it's from shifting from owning the business to a government employee. We will discuss this later. It takes a lot to shift. It takes a lot as a mindset to shift from this two angle. And she's also has a mentorship program. She knows also what it takes to break the cycle of failure. She's advocating about something controversial. We'll talk about it in due course of this episode. So get ready, honestly, for this episode. It's filled with insights and strategies and maybe a roadmap you can do with yourself to unlock your full potential. And this is our promise in 2025. It's a year of winning. So stick around and we will talk about it. Grace, welcome to Abed Podcast.
Thank you for having me. I'm so excited to be here. This is going to be a great conversation today.
It's going to be indeed an interesting conversation. For the people who doesn't know you, please introduce yourself to our audiences.
Well, for one, I'm a happy Canadian, born and raised. How you doing, eh?
All good. Canada in the house. Let's go.
Now, that's how you know a real Canadian, because we happen to say "a" at the end of our statement. So when you'll know when you're talking to a Canadian when they happen to say "a," how you doing, eh? I don't even know I say it, but apparently I do. So I apologize ahead of time. So
no worries at all.
Other than being a Canadian, I have a wonderful husband that I've been married to for 31 years. Got married at the age of 19, had 3 children by the age of 26. 31, I decided, what am I going to do with my life with no education other than your high school education and being a mom and doing the odd part-time job. I got into the area of real estate. It made sense for me. My mother was a branch manager for a major bank in Canada, and my grandmother was a realtor. My aunt was a realtor. Cousins were realtors. So it just fits, right? Sometimes you just choose something because it fits.
It runs in the family. There you go.
It's in the blood. We like people. We like business. So why not? So I jumped in at 31 into real estate, and was rookie of the year the first year, and it came very naturally for me because my mother was a branch manager, my father was a local pastor, my husband was a general manager for a car dealership, and we were just all local. My kids were in hockey and just part of the community. Really love the community, love people, love community. I think that was one of my slogans when I first started 19 years ago, and we just really loved being a part of that. But in 2018, I made 3 major decisions in my life that really accelerated me into a different dimension of success and fulfillment. Yeah. So that's where I am.
Yeah, we will tackle those 3 decisions. And actually, this is one of the, how can I say, the mindset barrier. Sometimes people did, and you remember we have discussed about it when we are preparing for this episode. And one of the things that really keep people stagnation is the mindset barrier. And Grace, so many people feel like they are working hard, however, they never move forward. Actually, What do you think is the number one reason for people to stay stuck? How can I say, in a stagnation failure cycle?
Fear of failure. We're afraid of something that we've never done before. We're afraid to fail, and that's because we live on different planes, of awareness. And so when we're living in a lower level of awareness, we allow fear to steer us instead of moving out into beyond fear. Fear is good at times.
Even sometimes actually progressing in the same career. This is what I see it sometimes is, and I heard it from a lot of people who are like, I trade. They said, you know what, let me do what I do. And the end of the month, I get paid and I go home and that's it. So you think also fear is also a reason for that, or something beyond that, since you have coached people and you worked in leadership?
Yeah, I believe that we're all made for something more. I believe that we live off of three planes of existence. When it comes to mindset, we live from three planes of existence. We all have intellectual minds. We've been blessed with beautiful intellectual minds, right? We live in a physical body, which helps us to stay present on the earth. We live, that carries us for the amount of time that we live on this earth. So we're physical beings, but we're also spiritual beings made in the image of God. I believe that you cannot have mindset without being connected to spirit. And spirit is always looking for greater expression and greater expansion. And so that mind, body, and spirit being connected to God, the grand overall designer, whatever you want to call it, universal power, God, however it be, you call it, but it's there, and it needs to be in alignment with our intellectual, our physical, and our spiritual beings. And so because we're spiritual beings, spirit is always looking to create. He's a creator, and there's a force of energy, and energy never dies, never goes away. It only looks for more. It looks for a greater expression. So because we were made as co-creators, we were made as spiritual beings, we're always looking for more. And so when the human being, not human doing, but the human being side of us is looking for the more, and we reject it, then we're at this, we get into this place of accepting mediocrity because we don't understand the responsibility that we have as co-creators, as going after the more. We don't understand that really is a part of who we are, to step out into the more, but understanding that we need to do that with God. We need to do that with spirit. We need to do that, with the understanding that everything that we have inside of us to do, be, and have is already there, but we need to take these steps forward in order to discover what they are.
In one of the episodes last year, I have launched it. I called it Auditing 2024, so you can have a clear idea how to win in 2025. And I broke it down into 6 elements. One of them, it was faith. Because if you take any activity, human activity, and you remove faith from it, it's empty. Yeah. It could be the best thing you have done it for humankind, and for yourself and your family, and remove the faith from it, it's became empty and it became meaningless, unfortunately. That's why sometimes people, when they have faith in their side, with the minimum efforts they do it, it's became so fruitful and so meaningful. And this is the rewards. We get it as a human being, the sense of accomplishment. Once you link it, and you're absolutely right, once you link it to the faith part, or the superpower that we are as a humankind, we are meant here to really be creative and recreate, basically develop this earth here. And this is very interesting because, again, mindset shift really sometime, and this is what coaching and leadership comes in a role. When you have done 3 decisions in 1 year, we will talk about those 3 decisions, so hold your horses. But explain to me the mindset you were in it so you can overcome the fear.
Yeah, so I ask questions, right? Before making those decisions, what problem do I have, right? Okay. Where is the solution to the problem? Because fear is really there. Fear, why are you here? fear is there to keep us safe, right? To keep us from falling off a cliff, or, when we're in danger, when we're walking down a street and we feel that, have that intuition of something's not right. Those are good things to listen to fear in that moment, right? But
It's
then
true.
there's other times when we're getting pressed and pushed, or, there's a prompting inside of us to take a step forward. We need to ask that question: fear, why are you here? Like, are you here to serve me, or are you here to hold me back? And we start to ask ourselves these questions, and that's how we gain understanding, and that's how we step into that next level of awareness, by understanding fear. Why are you here? Are you here to hold me back, or are you here to, because we're just not sure? Our subconscious, holds our emotions, it holds our past experiences, and it's really there, to keep us safe. So, right, that memory, it's not able to discern or make decisions. It's not the intellectual part of our mind. It's the subconscious part of our mind that only stores memory and past. And we tend to store the negative,
Mhm.
right, over the positive, that accelerates us forward. So the negative is what, responds first half, just like when you're listening to when you're watching a scary movie and you hear certain music, your body gets triggered, right? You start to
Yes.
sweat, right? You tense up and you grip your hands and you're like, oh my God, what's happening? Something, you get really scared. Well, it's the same thing with your subconscious mind. If there's something that's not known and there's a trigger of the unknown, your body starts to tense up, right? And your mind your
Absolutely.
subconscious kicks in like, be careful, be careful, be careful. What are you doing? So being able to ask those questions of fear: why are you here? Are you here to serve me? Or are you, here to cope? I noticed some gaps, right? I made a decision to step into a new brokerage model, real estate brokerage model, from a traditional brick and mortar into a tech company. And on the outside, I was a person that, before going into this, that I would ask everybody's opinion, whether this is
Mm.
the right decision or the wrong decision. And,
Mm.
you end up asking people that are not making big decisions, right? They're playing safe in their life. So they're going
Yeah.
to, like, or they love you, they care for you, and they're going to be afraid for you. So they're going to be like, I don't know, it's new. Are you sure you're making the right choice? I've never heard of that brokerage before. You get that. And
Yeah.
then that adds to that fear, and that holds you back. But I, decided I need to make some changes. I just, in that prompting of my life of wanting to step forward, I was like, I really feel good about this one. I see the potential. And so I went and looked at other places and people that were doing well in real estate and asked their opinion, right? Because they were in the industry and
Exactly.
what they were doing. And I listened to my intuition, what was going inside of me. So I made that decision. And so when I made that decision, that fear was still there because it was still unknown, but I knew I had made the right choice. So I continued to ask these questions. What problem do I have? What do I need to solve? Well, the first thing that came to me was, if I want to build a team, if I want to grow my real estate, to a larger scale, I need some training on leadership. I need some guidance on how to train others. I've been in the church and ministry and leading people and seen how things have gone wrong and not having good leadership or
True.
not being trained well. I sought out somebody who was really good at business leadership, at mentorship, at communication. And so I joined the John Maxwell Leadership Group, a man that's in his 70s, living for purpose, living for passion, doing global leadership, making transformation changes globally. And so I
Yeah.
stepped into him, and I knew as soon as I stepped in that this was what I was called to do, like be in this room surrounded by these type of people. There was another problem though. Our economy had changed in our country, and something had taken place by a decision that was made, and it like completely closed off business back in 2017, 2018.
Yeah.
And I
Okay.
had realized, oh, go ahead.
That- okay. Fantastic. Leadership, one of the just let us know how did you start it with real estate? Was it adventure? Was it something new or something? What triggered you to jumping into real estate, as it was the first career for you, or?
Yeah, real estate was the first career. I was 31 years old, and it was a career that, I was like, what am I called to do? What am I supposed to do? And I really like went in the circles of what was I supposed to do? I was a mom of three, 31 years old, and no education beyond high school. And so I was like, what do I do? can't go back to school. That was the level of awareness that I was like, I don't have money to go back to school. I need a
Yeah.
career. My kids are all in school. My mom was a branch manager for a major bank in Canada, and my grandmother was in real estate. My aunt was in real estate. My mom's cousins were in real estate. So it really made sense. My dad was a local pastor. My husband was a general manager for a car dealership. We were all just
So
local community people.
it runs in the family.
It runs in the family. It's in the DNA. We like to
Yeah.
talk. We like to socialize, right? We like to sell. So it made sense. In my first year, I was rookie of the year. Did really great out of the gate because of my connections and my community involvement.
Very good. Very good. Why I'm saying this? Because I'm sure that during COVID time, when things hit badly in COVID time, real estate was also part of it. So when you work with individual or businesses during that tough times during the COVID time, how did you find the importance of leadership and resilience?
Oh, that's a good question. That's a really good question. That was a challenge for me. I have to, be honest and open about this because mm, I'm a real charge ahead person. I'm a little bit rebellious in nature. So
Okay.
I don't have fear. I don't fear. I don't fear and I don't allow fear. That's not something that is a part of my DNA is fear. In fact, I push against it. My top three values that I lead from is faith, love, and freedom. And I had learned in COVID about my values, how my values serve me and how they work against me at times, because
Mhm.
what I was fighting for freedom, was other people's detriment. And so when it came to being a business owner in COVID, real estate was off the charts, crazy busy. We were so busy. People could only do two things in COVID: buy cars and buy houses. Everything else was shut down.
Interesting.
Oh,
Okay.
it was so interesting. We were so busy, but protocols, masks, and gloves, and all that crazy stuff
Yeah.
that was taking place that did not make sense to me. So I was really pushing against the grain a lot of it. So there was that conflict within myself of what was right, common sense, and having to abide by the rules. Being a city councilor, because I was city councilor at the time, business owner. So we were on Zoom calls for government, and I was in houses showing properties in real estate, and having to navigate those worlds was, I'm telling you. But what I learned is that when it comes to leadership is about sacrifice, and leadership is about having to make really tough choices,
Absolutely.
laying down your
I'm
own emotions, your own
I'm in for
feelings.
that. I'm in for that.
Yeah, it was not easy because I had to that were really hard. They were so hard, that I didn't. Yeah, if I was to do it again, I'd say I would have changed my position in one way, but it communicated another. Going through it, and so everything that you're going through is new and challenging. You're going to make mistakes. You really are going to make
Absolutely.
mistakes, and you can't be afraid to make mistakes because that's where the growth is. So I
Mm.
think COVID was the greatest challenge for all of us, in so many different levels of
It
it,
is. It is.
right?
It is. It has positive and negative, let's say, effect. One, in a positive sense of it, like technology was like just boom. Everything was transitioned from a normal kind of, even the government sector here, like they moved towards the technology more. Like they just put the metal to the pedal and that's it. They went all in for that. So that was very good, and that had reduced the time of finishing whatever service that you need. So that was good. In the other hand, people who have used to a certain lifestyle that it was depend on staying away from family, being busy all the time outside, they got hit. They got hit really hard because that lifestyle took away from them. and they need it now to spend good time with the family. Some people really didn't do well.
Yeah.
And that's why I was talking about it in a different episode about communication and conflict resolution. Communication is just, I'm sure that you have seen this topic on leadership, and they always say effective communication, but few people honestly practice what they preach. So that's really that's really important.
Mm-hmm.
You have done a course for leadership. What was the main pillar of leadership, the coach at that time, the program that you have done, they emphasize on?
Yeah, well, the main component of leadership is that law of sacrifice. What are you going to give up,
Okay.
right? To give up for others. Leadership, everything rises and falls from leadership. Everything rises and falls from leadership and nothing worthwhile is downhill. Everything worthwhile is uphill. And part of a leader is understanding what you need to sacrifice in order to bring people with you. In order to be a good leader, you have to learn how to discover how to get people to want to follow you. And
Sure.
if you're a leader that's not willing to sacrifice your own emotions, your own vision sometimes, right? To pause, to reflect, and to understand the needs of the ones around you, then you can do a lot on your own. And if you want to go fast, you do it alone. But if you want to go far, you do it with others. And the really powerful way of doing that is learning what you need to sacrifice, learning what you need to lay down of yourself in order to bring others with you. And I think that was something that I really learned in council of, my first term, my first year or two. Like I said, I'm a charge ahead. I'm strong and dominant in ways, but I wanted to go in with a humility of understanding, because I had never served in government before. I'm a business entrepreneur, not a government worker. So going in as a leader, I needed to come in with a humility. I needed to listen to understand. And as a leader, that's what we need to do, is to listen more to understand.
You said you have done 3 decisions in 1 year. What was those three decisions, and why in 1 year?
I know, right? I don't know.
people sometimes spend full year to make one decision. You have done 3 decisions in 1 year. Unpack that for us.
Yeah, 3 major decisions 1 year, because this law of decision, right? Decisions either hold you back or move you forward. And
Yes.
I think of who I was, not understanding who I was when I was called to, and being that person that needed to ask for permission, ask for permission for things from other people, and be affirmed and be acknowledged in order to step forward. That I got frustrated with myself, knowing that I was a leader and called to more, but this oppression of having to ask people for permission if they see in me what I see in myself, right? And I think I made that the first decision, that I was tired of that I needed to break out of the gates, and I needed to make some major changes. So I went on that pursuit. And so the first decision, like I said, was changing brokerages from the traditional into the new. So I think that is a metaphoric decision as well, right? Staying from, traditional, what where you're from. There's things that we can't decide on. We can't decide on who our parents were, what country we were born in, the color of our skin, the color of eyes. We don't get to choose those. Those things happen. They're chosen for us, and they're wonderful and amazing as they are, but we don't get to choose them, right?
Yeah.
And so, we get in this place where you're like, okay, we have this feeling we need to grow out of some things, but what we know is what we know. And so we go into this wrestle, and we have to make that decision of, are we going to make some changes? Like, what do I really believe? Right now,
Sure.
I'm evolving, and I'm developing in this of my own individual, and what does that look like? And it's not a bad thing. It's not a rebellious thing. It's not a rejection thing. It's just more of an understanding. So I think I had made that decision that I wanted to step out as an individual. Instead of feeling bad about getting married so young and not going after education, maybe not going after the more, I needed to break away from that shame and that guilt that I had carried for so long, even though I never would regret having my children. I never regret anything because regret is not worthwhile. It's exhausting. But I just needed to move from that feeling or that identity that I was putting on myself. So I did that. And then again, asking the questions of what do I need with making these decisions? And so as I asked myself these questions, where's the problem? Where's the gap? What is it that I need? I would quickly get the answers. And because I made that decision, the decision to move forward and break out of that mold or break out of that, that oppression or that feeling that I knew was not serving me anymore, my answers came quickly because it wasn't coming from a stuff. Can I do this? Can I do that? Or should I? No, I had made the decision that I need to do something. Like I want to. I have desire. Holy Spirit, Spirit of God, whatever you want to call it. That's what I call it for myself. So, was was really pushing me to move ahead and make these decisions. And because it had gotten so intense, I think within myself, I was able to make those crazy 3 decisions in 1 year. But people will look and say, Grace, like since you made those decisions that year, your life has completely changed and transformed and moved forward. And that's really putting hope when going into the leadership with John Maxwell. He really encourages that, building your character and understanding why you are the way you are, whose you are, and why are you doing what you're doing, and leading from that place of value, leading from a place of what is valuable to you, because we all have different values, but we just don't
Absolutely.
understand what those values are. So you go into this personal development discovery, and the whole world opens up to you. Yeah,
Unfortunate.
so that's what happened.
Exactly. That's impressive. There was sometimes people, and I hear it from many people, they say, and this is the confusion. They confuse between being a leader and manager. And then they tend to say, well, I'm just only a part of a large group. I'm not managerial. I don't need to be a leader.
Mm.
What is your take on that?
My take on that is that you're playing small and you're afraid. You're allowing fear to keep you held back. There's, maybe everyone leads. You are leading something. We're all leading, in your home, whether you're a mother or father, you're leading your children, right? We have leadership in every area. You're going through the drive-through and you're making, you're putting in your order, and how you make your order, how you treat other people, you're modeling something, and you're leading by example. Like everything that we are doing, we're leading in some way. So for somebody to say, I'm a manager, but I'm not leading. Well, you have a team of people. If you're managing, you're leading over something. So there's a conflict. And I would say that there's insecurity. You have skills, but you're afraid of developing those skills. There's something that, is keeping you held back, a confidence. You have a confidence issue. And how we deal with confidence is by gaining understanding, by taking a step of understanding. What am I missing? I am a leader. I'm just afraid of leading. I don't know how to lead. That's okay. Nobody knows how to lead until they've done something and they've had some mistakes, right? Then you become a better leader when you're willing to grow and to learn.
Because that leads me to the second point. Many people, they struggle with self-doubt. I'm not good enough. I cannot lead. I don't have that character in myself. How we can change that mindset?
I first would ask the question, why do you believe that?
Mm-hmm.
Why do you believe that you can't lead? Where is it that, let's think back in your life from wherever, you began to where you are now. Do people often ask your opinion about something? Do they come and share their life with you, or they reach out to you? Chances are, if people are doing that, they're coming to you, asking questions, confiding in you, people are gravitating to you, you are a leader. So I would ask that question, why do you believe that you're not a leader? And let's look at the examples of your own life where you are a leader. Let me show you how you are a leader. You're just
How,
not maybe the leader that you think you are.
what will be the discovery question of I'm not good enough or the self-doubt? What will be the opening question for that or the discovery question for it?
You're not good enough to do what? What is that question?
I have no
Right?
idea. Yeah, it's
What
true.
is it that you're not good? What is it that you're not good at?
Yes.
And then the answer will come, right?
Because
And then the next question.
it's true.
Yeah.
Because sometimes, and I've seen this in life coaching modules and sometimes in NLPs. Sometimes when the person who's seeking to discover why the self-doubt came from, sometimes it's I don't know, it's back in history, some kind of a trauma or something, some kind of
Yes.
lack of acknowledgement. How did you find it out when it's coaching, with dealing with coaching?
Yeah. So taking so many certifications myself, when you step into personal development, it's like pulling back layers and you get addicted. I am certified in DISC assessment, behavioral assessment training. So I'll go in and train teams or managers or leaders. And we always start with this DISC profile assessment that really gives you indicators of your personality, how you communicate, how you receive communication, where are you best suited for a position. So, we go there. I'm certified with NLP, neuro linguistic patterning,
Yeah.
for that very reason, that because of the barriers and the beliefs that we hold on to that do not serve us, and being able to understand how to shift yourself. When you have shifts, you have breakthrough. Like, this is amazing. I have to share it. So I do a lot of NLP work on myself and with other people because it's so transformative. So through my own discovery, I want to impact and help other people. That's where my coaching has really evolved from.
From your experience, what are the biggest mental blocks did you saw, like a pattern as a mental blocks, and how can people rewire their thinking from your
Yeah,
experiences and the people they have and the cases that you have seen?
oh, there is so much, but it's an unpacking and it's a reprogramming our brain. Like, people say, oh, you're brainwashed. Okay, well, I think maybe you're brainwashed. We may all be brainwashed because of the environment that we were raised in. Like, we've been raised with beliefs because it's generational. Your parents will say, we'll hear isms and schisms, right? Money doesn't grow on
Trees.
who do you think you
I don't know.
who do you think you are? Like, there's
Okay.
things that will just automatically, who do you think you are, right? Right. That we've just grown up with, that we don't even think about. We just know the answers to because we've heard so long, and life becomes like that. And so that needs to be challenged. And you ask me that question when somebody says, I'm not a very good leader, I can't do that. Well, what makes you think that? What makes you believe that? And that's the NLP process, is that we go back in time of your lifeline to discover where that belief is not serving you. Where did that come from? Did it from you? It may have come from your parents, may come from their parents, and it's just been passed down through the lines, because energy never is destroyed, but it gets passed through our through our generational lines, that until we uncover it, it will drive our life, and we'll call it fate. That's Carl Jung. He'll say, until we make the unconscious conscious, they will drive our life, and we'll call it fate. And that is the path of personal development, of peeling back those layers and really asking, why is it you believe what you believe, and is it really true?
In this podcast, we try to bring such an expert like yourself and others who was previously guests. And the reason why it's to share the insights that you have mentioned, and also to share a real success stories that they have seen it on people one-to-one. They broke the cycle of failure. Tell us a story of, I mean, you can go through the details if you want, but you have witnessed someone, you helped him really to rewire his mindset.
Oh, all the time, which is, it's just incredible, because a lot of us are just walking around letting life happen to us instead of life happening through us. So these things, these adjustments, working with realtors, salespeople, especially in that area of lack of confidence. And it always starts in the same with every person. I was with someone yesterday. It starts with the same thing of just not having awareness of, but being in this victim mentality that they feel stuck. I was with a client yesterday, and they said, I feel stuck. I feel like I can't move. And it immediately goes to relational issues, family, things that have happened in their life that it's outside from them, and bring them into a place of understanding that, okay, let's deal with the person, you.
Absolutely.
Let's peel back this thing and making a decision. Is this how we want to live for the rest of our lives? Or do we want to come into the understanding that you have the power of choice? If somebody else has made you happy, mad, glad, or sad, you have been had. You have been had. Let me say that again. If somebody else has made you happy, mad, glad, or sad, you have been had. Because attitude is 100% your responsibility.
Okay.
And so that's an unpacking. It's like, but what if they did this? What if they, and it'll go in this vicious cycle of blaming the other people, blaming the situation, blaming the circumstance. And those things are all true. They all could be very true. But we have to get into a place of human beingness, of understanding our responsibility, that when we really truly want power, when we, like within ourselves, we really want to grab hold of the ability to make decisions and feel confidence and being able to move forward in our life, that we take responsibility for the decisions that we're making. That it's everybody's trying to do the same thing, right? Discovery and trying to figure out their life. And it's just easy to put blame. It's easy to put accusation. But when we understand the importance of, it's my responsibility, I'm going to take full responsibility for my life, and knowing that I've been blessed with an intellectual mind. I have a physical body that I'm responsible for, my temple, right? Being of living out a full, fulfilling life. So I need to take care of it. And I am a spiritual being. I'm not a spiritual doing. I'm a spiritual being. And how do I align everything into the purposes of what God has intended my life to be? And it's my responsibility. John Maxwell says this. He says that God has given every single person a gift of potential. And it is our gift back to God to discover what that is, to fulfill it.
Sometimes is the network around you play a major role in keeping your mindset on the failure part, or maybe it's the let's say the victim mindset. How you can change the network around you?
Make some decisions.
Personal and work-wise.
Yeah, work-wise. You never want to be the smartest person in the room. You don't always want to be the smallest, because who's challenging you? Who is challenging you? Who is plotting you to go? Remember when I said, when I was changing brokerages, I went around to people that had never really made big major decisions. I was comfortable with them. I trust them. I love them. I respect them in many ways. But when you think, what major decisions have they really done well in making? Are they good at making decisions? Why am I asking those people that are not really great at making decisions? They're not decision makers when it comes to moving forward in their life, right? When I wanted to grow and discover, I went after them. I went after those people, right? So if I can't change my workplace, but I need to be challenged so that I can challenge the people around me so that we can all grow, I needed to go beyond that boundary. I needed to go beyond to get that discovery. And so when you know that there's more in you to grow and you feel stagnant, you feel stuck, it's getting out there to discover, okay, what is it that I want? Where do I want to grow? What do I believe needs to be changed? What is the problem that I need solved? And where do I need to go to get it? So that's really my three decisions of the major decisions that I made. I started to ask these powerful, impactful questions for myself. And, when I was in real estate, I am in real estate, but years before I made this decision, I hated door knocking. I hated door knocking. In fact, from door to door, I would have a conversation with myself about how much like talk about reprogramming your brain. I needed
Yes.
some reprogramming. I had so much fear from door to door. I'm outgoing, like I'm a people person, but I have, because of my disc profile of being a high I have a fear of rejection. So from every house to house, be like, I hate this, I hate this, I hate this.
Yes.
I convinced
Yeah.
myself how much I hated it. But when I ran for government, for city council, what did I have to do?
Same thing.
I had to door knock thousands of houses and houses of doors. You know what happened? I
What?
fell in love with door knocking. I love door knocking. It's the greatest thing to go door knocking. I had such a great time. I didn't have anybody slam the door on me. They just, if they didn't want to answer, they didn't answer. And you know what? Someone did slam the door in my face one time when I was door knocking for city government. And you know what I did?
What?
I rang the doorbell again. And I let them open up the door and I said, "Excuse me, sir. I'm running for your local office. And I'm here to introduce myself because one day I will be representing you. And it's very important for you to know who's going to be representing you, who's going to be representation." I didn't let him slam the door in my face. And
Wow.
that was one time out of thousands of doors. That's the one time that I had that experience, and I took a hold of it. I stepped through it. So after that experience, I can teach people door knocking. Door knocking is amazing. It's about communication, meeting people, and people are good people. The majority of people out there, they're friendly, they're kind, they're good. And if they don't want to be, they just don't answer the door. So what? You move on to the next.
I mean, for that,
That was a
absolutely.
But if I didn't run for office, if I didn't step in to the more, I wouldn't have these experiences. You know, yeah. So it's been
What
amazing.
one of the things that I started my career many years ago, like 22 years ago, in sales, and everyone was looking at me like, you have buried yourself. I said, okay, why not? It's tough, highly competitive. Percentage of rejection is 7,000%.
Mm,
Door knocking and or communication, this is another also barrier. But I'll tell you what, after 22 years of, it's not 2020, 22 years, it's like good 15 years and being on the sales field, managing people on the sales as well. Communication was the the main tool, to be honest, because once you communicate effectively, once you communicate with meaning, rejection will be less. Even when you are rejected,
mm-hmm.
you can come over it very easy. That's why I'm saying, that's why I always advocate for effective communication, because this is your tool to communicate with your other human being.
Mm-hmm.
And this is exactly just what you confirmed now.
Yeah, communication is powerful, right? It's communication is what breaks apart our families, marriages, organizations, and even countries, right? For communication.
Absolutely. I will
And part of that communication is listening.
yes, yes,
Yeah.
exactly. I want to switch gear
Okay.
to a different topic before before we run out of time. You also been advocated against human trafficking. Why and how did you enter to this kind of a topic?
Okay, you ready for this one? You
The
asked the
floors
question.
the floors is yours.
Oh, okay. Well, I have not been in human trafficking myself, so I'm not a victim of human trafficking, thank God. But it's something that is really, it's a calling. It's sometimes there's things that you just know that are outside, they're bigger than yourself, and you get called into. You don't understand why, but you do. And so there's a big story. There's a huge story behind why I advocate against human trafficking for women. I think,
What is the story
um,
behind it?
well, okay, I'm a woman of faith. I'm a woman of faith, and in my local community, we would I believe in the power of prayer. And so there was a strip club in our community, and we would go praying once a month around different areas that we feel weren't serving families, weren't really serving the community. And one of those places was the strip club. And we would go 6 years we prayed around this strip club. We'd just go and for me, it's about compassion and love and care and family. I believe strongly in family. I believe strongly in the power of family. And so when I was praying for this business and praying for women, I was praying, for all those elements of marriage, the sanctity of marriage and relationships and love, and women not feeling their worth, not feeling their value. And our church had outgrown its space. My dad was a pastor. I come from a big line of pastors. And our church had outgrown the space, and we needed a bigger space. And so I wasn't in real estate at the time, but my mom's cousin was. He went to my mom and said, well, I know of a place, but it's a little unconventional, but it might be available. And she said, oh yeah, what is it? It's the strip club. It was that strip club that we had been praying around for so many years, that we literally, like, this is a place that we could be calling a church. It was interesting because I had a picture when I was praying one time, and I saw families and banners and ribbons, and I was like, what is this picture? It's so strange when we were there one time. Anyways, we ended up buying the strip club. We went in one day before it had opened, and as a church, we went and we looked in to see if it was, a good facility for us. And then we went back to have a meeting as a congregation. And while we were there, we got a phone call. Another church was wanting to buy our existing church for the exact amount of money that we were going to list it for, even before we listed it.
Interesting.
And so sometimes there's things in our lives that are out from ourselves, that are bigger than ourselves, that we cannot control, we can't see happening, but we know that we need to step into and be a part of. And so that wasn't just the only thing that happened. It's just what happened is that something got seated in my heart, my belief that I needed to fight for the more, that I needed to, that what I had been praying for, what I had been, believing for families and for women to never feel oppressed, never to be held down, that I started to experience women that were in trafficking coming into my life, needing help, needing advice, coming in to learn about real estate. I'd go on vacation. I've had interactions where Johns are wanting to, purchase a woman, and I've jumped in and I've advocated and broken up the situation. So there's this wild journey of mine. And now in city council, when I got into city council, we were doing bylaws. We were doing licensing bylaw for licensing for the city. And one of the ones was for massage parlors, for body rub parlors. And nobody would pay attention to it because nobody really understands or even knows about what goes on in communities. But when I saw it, I immediately knew why I was put into government. It was because of this advocacy, this seed of advocacy that I have for fighting for women, for freedom, that we were able to put into place as licensing that would better protect women and girls that were working in these facilities. And even though it's not perfect, it's better, right? There's a protection, there's a dignity, there's, something in place that wasn't there. You got to start somewhere and go after it. And so, next month I'm training a team of people that work in a safe house for women. So I'm doing John Maxwell 15 Invaluable Laws of Growth and teaching them about values and leadership and communication, because they're dealing with girls and now boys that are in places of trauma, but they need help themselves to be able to lead them through their experiences. So it's really opened up so much more than I could possibly have imagined. But it's that thing of purpose that you wanted to talk about in your notes. You're asking me for it. I said, oh, this will be interesting to see where this goes. And you asked me the question. So that is my purpose part of it. That is beyond me. It's not something that I ask for by any means, because it's a terrible topic. Nobody wants to listen about it. Nobody wants to hear about it. They don't even want to believe that it's happening. So I'm like, wow, this is a great one for me to be involved in. But there isn't any greater joy that when you step into that bigger purpose, that bigger thing that is beyond you, but is inside of you, you know, like everything that I have in my life, I am being prepared for. I'm being trained for. I'm being challenged for. And but it's my choice on whether I say yes or I say no to it. And so yeah, that's why I advocate against human trafficking.
Well, Godspeed with that effort. You're doing God's work, saving people's life, which is the ultimate human being activity you can do to your other fellow human being. We're running out of time, unfortunately. And before we wrap up this episode, for the people who are feeling stuck and listening to this podcast today, what is the daily habit that really they can do it? In the long run, it will help them to fix their mindset.
You said it. It's your habit. It's doing the small things consistently every single day towards a movement of growth, towards what it is that you want. And you got to make that decision about what it is that you want. What you're not changing, you're choosing. So first discovering what is it that I need to change? And so how do I make those changes? And how you make those changes is by moving in a direction forward every single day, just changing something different, whether it's just getting up a few minutes earlier, right? Working your way to doing an exercise in the morning or prayer or meditation or whatever that may look like for you, but doing something different that gets you into motion, that gets you moving forward. If, you know, you say, I need to get in shape. This year, I want to be healthy. I want to take care of my body. How do I do it? Well, don't make a commitment that you're going to get up 2 hours earlier than what you normally do and say, you know, I'm going to go to the gym every single day and I'm going to get up 2 hours earlier, blah, blah. How many days are you going to do it before you don't?
There you
right?
go. New Year's resolution. New Year's resolution.
Yeah, it doesn't happen. After 2 weeks, you're done. You're over. You're on the rails. You're stuffing your face with pie and watching Netflix. And so you're going to start small. Like, okay, let's get up 15 minutes earlier than what we're normally. Let's start there. Or let's put our shoes by our bed and put our running shoes on and start to think about putting in motion. Just start small, the place of least resistance, the first place of least resistance. Start there and begin to work your way towards the progression, towards the movement, and you'll build that confidence. You'll build that, you know, that motivation that'll keep you going. You know, motivation gets you going. Discipline keeps you going.
Absolutely. When I've been asked this question, I have told this gentleman, I said, why didn't you do a green day? So he said, okay, what do you mean by green day? I said, dedicate a day in your week. Take 2-3 hours of your time, pick a book, a paper, and a pen, and sit uninterrupted for a good 2 hours. Just read. How is it going to work? I said, that served me for the past 15 years.
Wow.
So that's a ritual for me. I'm doing it in addition to other things like exercise and so on. So, but that give you the knowledge, give you insights, learn a lot, and keeping you sharp. If I want to.
Yeah, that's so good. That's an amazing practice.
Lastly, where can people connect with you and learn more about your work?
Oh yeah, absolutely. You can find me, just Google me and you'll find me on lots of different platforms. But New Doors Mentorship and Coaching, you can connect with me there, or grace.newdoors@gmail.com, or there's another platform, grace.newdoors. That's my real estate site. So yeah, reach out, send me a DM. Love to meet you.
Absolutely. We will link all the socials for Grace on the video description, so you can access it and get in touch with her. Well, again, another insightful episode where Grace, you have shared with us some insight about breaking the cycle of failure and stepping into your personal and career success. So if you get value from this episode, please don't forget to subscribe to our podcast and go search for Grace and find what amazing work she does. And let us take an action together. Really, take
Mm.
one small step at a time this year. We are already in January. So what you have done so far to make you success in this year, keeps, as I was saying, until next time, keep striving for excellence, keep growing, and keep your winning mindset. I'll see you on the next episode. Thank you very much.